Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm here with Vesper, and we're gonna go over just the explosion on news that we got
Oh
recently
yeah.
about Street Fighter 6. A lot of new footage. Does that make you excited?
Oh yeah, it's like Christmas. It's like the game is already out, but we just don't get to play. We can look, but we can't touch.
Well, some people get to play. Wait, I didn't say anything.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of new footage. The NDA recently lifted, and we just got so many videos and a lot of information that we previously were unsure about, or things that are just completely new about the newer characters that came out. So I just have a list here of things that we kind of like spotted from the new footage, and we're just gonna go through it like really quick. And by really quick, I mean probably 3 hour long video or something.
So let's do this. Who are we starting off with?
I have E.Honda here because he's like one of the older characters. So the first thing that people would want to know about Honda is if his, traditional 100-hand slap is, still the classic mash motion, and it's not. It's cortical back punch this time.
Yeah, they got rid of the piano inputs, man. Using a joystick there's less and less reasons, I think. It's just I guess they wanted to make it easier. This is good because it means you don't have to whiff a button if you want to do it in neutral, for example. But I think it came at a little cost because I think his 100 hand slaps aren't plus anymore unless he does the OD version, I believe.
Right. I do not believe that the OD version is plus either. It's just
really
no pressure anymore from 100 hands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a change that they made across the board, and we're gonna talk about it more later. But it's interesting because in Street Fighter V, characters that used to have piano motions, they had both, right? Like Chun-Li could do kicks with both a motion and the piano input. Right. Not that you would ever do that, but it was a thing that they maintained.
Yeah.
But it's not something that they did in this game, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like they're easing us in, but now it's finally gone. Piano inputs are gone, guys.
Now, other Honda news, we've looked at his Oicho throw, which is back, the command throw as we knew, and it seems to be 7 frames of startup, which makes it slow-ish for command throws in this game, it seems. The damage is all right, the range is all right, but it's nothing, it's nothing special. It doesn't make him a full-on grappler,
Right, yeah. He's not supposed to be a grappler, he's a bully character, but having that extra threat of the throw is useful. But it's not something where it's like his main game plan. We know normal throws and most command grabs are 5 frame startup, so that 7 frame is just a little that's too slow, but it's still scary for Honda to have it. I think it's also a half circle back motion mirror.
Like, yeah, I do believe so, yeah. Right. Another thing that's interesting is that in his move list, it mentions the level 2 super, of course, Killer Head Ram, and it mentions how it's specifically built for going through projectiles. So that's unique because a lot of level 2s don't tend to have special invulnerabilities and whatever. And this one has a lot of forward motion, like horizontal movement.
Dude, he stole Bison's Cycle Crusher. He's like spinning with his head. It's one of the coolest.
Yeah, I guess so. Huh?
It's very cool.
So having that for Honda is probably very important because Honda has historically always been a little bit weak against zoning. And since his Street Fighter V V skills are back, I wonder if he can do, the V skill 1, the clap, into the level 2. That'd be interesting. It would require some weird charging though, because the super is back forward punch, I believe, or kick. I actually do not remember. And the V skill is a down plus punch input, so you'd have to be quite fast.
Have you seen his level 1 super? I feel like it looks underwhelming. It knocks the opponent back full screen away. And I was looking up the description for it in the command list just to get some more info, and it says it can be used as a reversal, like an invincible reversal. So I imagine it starts up quickly. But I guess if you knock the opponent full screen, you can get your V skills up. But it just looked underwhelming, I would say, compared to a lot of the other supers we've seen.
Yeah, it's possible that it's just to help you put people in the corner where you would always be much scarier, right? Because of butt slam and all that. So. Maybe that's the reason, but you wouldn't get any Oki. In fact, a lot of people don't get Oki from level 1s, so maybe that's same idea. Right, since I mentioned the V skills, again, both the V skill 1 and V skill 2 are back as special moves, as we know, and both the inputs are down, and punch, and down, and kick, which you'll notice is a pretty common input in Street Fighter 6.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, especially joystick users.
I mean, Honda is pretty straightforward. We haven't seen anything particularly new. That's just about everything that I've written down. So we can move on to the next character, which is another old character we've seen some time ago, which is Dhalsim.
Yes, Dhalsim's
Now,
back.
Dhalsim's got something more interesting and more controversial to talk
Very
about
controversial.
immediately.
Yes.
So his yoga teleport in previous games used to be a DP motion and then 3 punches or 3 kicks. And based on the direction of the DP, you would go backwards or forward, and the punches and kicks determine the distance. And you had to do like a pretty complicated motion to do it instant air teleport, right? Because it was also a DP in the air. But now you don't have to worry about that anymore because it's just forward or back, 3 punches and 3
What
kicks.
were they thinking, man? Teleport having back or forward? They could have at least gave it a down input. That's what I thought they were gonna do. But I guess the down and then you jump to do an instant air teleport would be a little kind of weird. So yeah, they just simply made it back or forward. Dhalsim teleports for everyone now. It'll be completely brainless to do. So that's gonna be wild.
Right, and it's interesting because one of the unique properties of the teleport, right, is that it used to be strike invulnerable, and then if you did the instant air version, then it would be throw invulnerable instead, right?
Mhm.
So you kind of like had a little mix up, quote unquote, on your own wake up there. So I'm curious if the invulnerability is gonna be much lower then because it's such an easy input now. It'd be crazy otherwise, right?
Yeah. I like you can still do it. The people that have play tested also, you can still do the instant teleport in that, but and do the same similar combos. So I don't know. I guess it's just. I mean, I'm sure Dhalsim's still going to be an execution heavy character, but the teleport was one of the main reasons why he was such a high execution character, because you have to teleport non-stop with the character, right? It's his main mobility tool. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work in Street Fighter 6 now.
Yeah, and speaking of mobility tools, Dhalsim has his dive kicks back, the yoga drills, but he also has his yoga mummy back, the one where he goes head first and hits you. And a lot of people were wondering, well, what's the point of it, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't really know what it did, but the move list specifically mentions that it is special cancelable.
Yes.
And since he has a bunch of air moves, that opens up for combos and stuff,
Yes.
right? So that's interesting.
Like, the first thing that popped in my head is like, this is stupid. And the second thing is like, does that mean he can do like a yoga mummy on you and then he teleports back on hit? You know what I mean? Like stupid stuff like that. I don't know. Obviously he's got an air fireball, so that'd be like the natural thing people will try doing. But yeah, that makes it really unique because, like you said, the mummy was missing from before.
Right, and I guess to clarify on something that we saw on the original footage, we saw that Dhalsim had a crouch throw, or at least it was called a crouch throw, and it was weird because it was translated from a Japanese tweet from director Nakayama, and we didn't really know how it works. But now that we saw the move list, we have confirmation that you just hold down and throw the opponent, and you get a special throw.
Yeah, I think the description it mentioned it was for side switching, or no, I think it was for maintaining the side. I think that's what the down throw was
it
for.
seems like the Dioki is different than the normal forward throw, so there's a use for it.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to Blanka next, as we're going in order of when these characters were first shown to us. We gotta talk about Electric Thunder or Electricity, or whatever you want to call it. And this one is also no longer a mash move. It's instead Corsico back punch.
Yeah, piano inputs are gone, man.
Yeah, and I guess this comes at the cost of, the move not being plus on block anymore. In fact, only the overdrive version is plus on block. Admittedly, it's +4, I think, which is, quite a lot, but there's still 2 drive bars that you need to spend on it.
In Blanka's case, him having plus electricity was like really important for his pressure. But I think in this case, it makes sense that you can do his electricity on command without whiffing a button, because he's gonna put down the Blanka Chan dolls. So being able and the electricity amplifies them. So it'll be easier to place them down and then just do a core circle input, core circle back to get them to run after the opponent, right? So I think this makes sense in Blanka's case.
Yeah. It's good that it's a Corsico back input as well, because it makes it easier to start charging back immediately.
That's
and
a good point.
As we know, Blanka has a DiCaprio spiral arrow in this game. He can do a Blanka ball in the air from a back jump.
Yes.
So
I'm surprised it's still a charge. Like it's so you have to charge back. That's actually gonna help people that don't know charge cards, because then they'll realize you can actually buffer the charge when you're jumping or when you're crouching.
Oh, speaking of the Blanka ball, actually, the OD Blanka ball we saw in the developer matches that it could go through projectiles basically effortlessly. But people have tested it now that they have had hands-on with the game, and it doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Yes.
The way they rethought of that, they were like, well, that's probably kind of nuts. So
they nerfed Blanka behind the scenes, guys, before we even had a chance to play him. Like, come on. I guess there must have been someone on the dev team just terrorizing everybody and just Blanka balling through every single JP player, and then they got salty and they nerfed it, guys. So, so I guess that means like Blanka players will have to use Rainbow Ball, or they use Amazon River Run, the slide as a main tool to go through projectiles. They want to keep projectiles strong in Street Fighter 6, it seems.
Yeah. And speaking of the Rainbow Ball, that one's a motion now.
That's right. Charge. And I'm happy we finally like mythbustered this down, because we were wondering for so long, is Blanka still a charge character or not? Because like we see lots of examples. I'm happy to see now that the Rainbow Ball is in fact a motion, and his normal ball and up ball are still a charge.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a move that has a lot of star up, so to change it to a motion is probably fine.
Yeah, I think it's important for Blanka to be able to walk forward and do Rainbow Ball, because it's going to help with his Blanka-Chen doll mix-ups. So,
especially if this is one of his projectile invulnerable moves, would be pretty useful to be able to do it at least on somewhat reaction.
Yeah.
And speaking of fireball invulnerable moves, in Street Fighter V, his command throw was one of his options against fireballs. At least the X version was, and we know that it is back in Street Fighter 6. It's quarter circle forward kick, but it is not projectile. So
yeah, dude, I can't believe they kept this under the radar. I did not guess that his command throw was still in the game, but it is. It definitely is. The hop seems a little lower than it was in Street Fighter 5, but it's still the same thing where he hops forwards you and grabs you. It's slow. Right. Don't think of it like a command grab. It's slow. It's more like a dolphin dive, from Birdie. That kind of vibe, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so myself, yeah. The thing is that because the hop is lower, like you mentioned, it's probably going to be worse at going over normals and, well, fireballs as well. You can hop over fireballs, but it's really difficult. So I'm curious what the use is going to be. I guess there's people pairing and such that this can easily defeat, so there's that.
Yeah. For sure. That's definitely going to help. And then, once again, the Blanka-Chan dolls. I can't wait to see how Blanka plays with that. It's going to be really annoying.
Yeah. Right. And speaking of Blanka-Chan dolls, we had heard before that, these dolls that you can electrify to push a mix-up or quote-unquote skip neutral were, limited quantity. And we didn't know if Blanka was able to refill them. Apparently he couldn't. And now we have confirmation that he can.
Right.
So it's a limited resource, only 3 of them.
Yeah, so you use them at the start of the round. I double checked the matches from before when he was fighting JP just to see if they refill between the rounds at least, and they do. So it's just once you use them for that round, that's it, and then you can't refill it from there. And they're obviously quite strong, so that's why Capcom didn't allow some Blanka player to just kite you all match and then constantly throw dolls at you, and you know what I mean? Like you only have limited uses.
Yeah, especially because quite a few people that played the game mentioned how they're actually very effective at letting Blanka approach in neutral more than for his setups. Because the little hitbox on the ground, it kind of like restricts your movement, and Blanka can just jungle hop or hop towards you, just dash and be in your face. So yeah, limiting it is probably a very intelligent move on Capcom's part.
But starting with 3 is still pretty good. That's a lot to work with.
Yeah. Right, and again, talking about the Blanka dolls, is level 2 Electric Beast, I think. Lightning Beast, maybe in this game, is basically his V-Trigger 2 from Street Fighter 5, right? We now know that all the Blanka balls get electrified, and you can use them to trigger the Blanka-Chan dolls as well.
That's cool.
That's interesting, because you can probably create some setups where maybe you do an up ball so that it doesn't hit the Blanka-Chan doll until you come down with the the V-trigger follow-up, I guess, and then that triggers the doll and lets you continue pressuring. That could be pretty dangerous.
That'd be very cool. It's mostly the V-trigger 2, but I think there's a little bit of V-trigger 1 in it because, like you said, he is electrified when he's doing all the balls. But damn, man, you see how much drive meter Blanka drains when the opponent's blocking? It's nuts. Like it's really strong, and honestly, that's what made the character like viable. Is Blanka's V-Trigger 2 is so crazy. So seeing him have it like all the time as a level 2 is really good for Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, the level 2 also mentions the supers being empowered, but I'm not sure how. I guess just extra damage?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, yeah, I
It would
guess.
have to be the level 1, right? Because
Yeah,
you spend
just
2 meters.
I guess it's just because because it is electricity. So that's why I said like it is kind of like a combination of V Trigger 2 and 1 at the same time. Really good.
Well, I'm sure that the Blanka players will have a field day with this
Oh yeah.
character.
Oh,
Seems
yeah.
like
They already got
he's
the best stage, man.
yeah, and the best theme? Question
And the
mark.
best theme. That's true. It's true.
All right. Well, moving on into another classic, we have DJ.
Yes, DJ.
Now, going back to piano inputs. Well, he didn't quite have piano inputs, but he had the mash move, which was his machine gun upper. We would do charge down, up, and punch, and then mash. Well, that's gone. It's not even a charge anymore. Of course, they go back punch. So
Really? I didn't even know that. That's insane. That means you'll be able to combo into it so easily. I thought it was still a charge.
yeah, and the damage is really high for a move that you don't have to mash.
The OD version, you see how much damage that does? It's really crazy. It's
Yeah.
like a long animation too. Like
I guess the way they balanced it is that, well, it's probably massively unsafe on block, but that always was the case. And it's just that the startup is quite slow, so you're not really able to combo into it easily. The range seems a little bit suspect.
Yeah. We saw more explanation on the feints, but we actually got to see the light jackknife feint. I don't think we got to see that before. And did you see the angle of his jump? It's pretty interesting. Basically, he gets like a different jump angle, but because it's a special move, that's a feint. By the way, the jackknife is the up kicks, in case you guys don't know. Doing the light version, so you can cancel it from a normal, right? So you're basically canceling your buttons into a jump with DJ. And yeah, this character is gonna be really tricky. Really, really tricky.
It's interesting because it looks like you lift, your up kicks, but really you're coming down with a with an attack in the air, and you can do, any air attack. So you can do your knee shot as well. So I'm sure that there's gonna be situations where you can cross up or not cross up based on whether you do the knee shot or not. It's gonna be pretty annoying, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, another thing about DJ, which I think is something that we were wondering about and is quite interesting, is that his level 2, called Sunrise Festival, actually has 3 different names because every version has its own name. But I couldn't tell what the difference is. They look all the same. I have no clue.
Yeah, it's also hard because not every I don't think I've seen any footage of anyone actually completing it, right? Because no one had enough time.
Right, to explain everything, the idea is that you do double crochet, go forward, and punch, light punch, medium punch, or heavy punch. Apparently, they're different versions, like you were mentioning. And then you have to input these inputs correctly, like at the right time, to get extra damage and actually being able to complete the combo. Otherwise, you drop it. So you do light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. And then, if you successfully do this, you have 2 finishers that you can choose: heavy punch or heavy kick. And I think one side switches and one doesn't.
Okay.
That's interesting, right? Like it gives you something to work for, like execution wise, like because you have to actually have correct timing. You can do it basically completely wrong and drop the combo. You can do it sort of right and it does bad damage, and you can do it correctly and then the notes appear over DJ's head, so you know that you've hit it correctly, and that gives you the maximum amount of damage. And apparently there's some reports that you could interrupt it halfway through and be plus enough to continue a combo, so that could be interesting as well, being a level 2, having that extra utility.
Yeah, like I was like, a lot of people were saying it's kind of like a deadly rave. And this is definitely the most complicated super in the game. It's definitely a showboat super. So I think if you're gonna play DJ, you really need to master this and understand exactly how it works. And I wonder if it's worth it, like all of this trouble learning it, because I wonder how much bonus damage it does compared to other level 2 supers if you successfully got the good rhythm for it. So very cool super.
Right, especially if you interrupt it halfway through, like we were saying, and continue a combo. Maybe you can go for a sneaky reset. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, that'd be insane. That would be insane.
Considering that you have your auto shimmy built in and you're just cool, right? So maybe devastating damage opportunities right there.
Yeah.
Right. Talking about other unique things that DJ has, we kind of heard this from the developers, but I don't think they've ever shown it before. DJ has access to a maracas dance. He just pulls out his maracas and then starts dancing. A spotlight illuminates him from above. It's pretty funny.
Dude, finally we know, because we actually mentioned this a couple of times when we are going through the commentary audio leaks, and I was wondering what the heck was this move, because I thought he would have like a some kind of stock system like other characters do, right? But no, it just seems to be just this random move that he has. The way I think of it, Mir, is kind of like G. Where G's doing his speech and you can hold it down and his bar will just completely keep filling up. I think that's like the best comparison I could think of.
Yeah, and it's like you mentioned correctly, it is the same in this game. It gives you super meter specifically.
Yeah.
So that's and it seems like it builds at a decent rate too, which is neat. I'm not sure if you'll ever get the opportunity to use it much.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can cancel into it, kind of like how G used to do.
Mm-hmm.
That could be cool, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it, so I'm not even sure if you can.
Yeah, there's been a lot of love on Deejay. Like, there's just no reason for him to have this move. Like, it's just there, and it's just like I said, he's kind of like a showboat character, so I guess they wanted to give him a reason to like taunt the opponent, get something out of it. So that's really cool. Yeah. This on top of that level 2, very sick.
And it's very in character too. It's definitely something Deejay would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we finally have confirmation that Deejay can do one fireball. We have been wondering about this for so long. We only saw 2 fireballs or no fireballs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Finally.
So the way you do it is that the light is the feint, the heavy is the double fireball, and the medium is the single fireball.
Yeah, and that was one of our predictions as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good that he can do it. It will help his zoning for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right, and one last thing is that his level 1 that we had seen before would crumple opponents on punish counter, but it seems to crumple people on counter hit as well. So if you're trying to whiff punish someone and you're just slightly too early, you don't get completely screwed. So that's nice.
Yeah, very nice.
And it could be useful for reversals, right? Like maybe they're doing a slow overhead on you and you're just doing your super and then you hit them and you get a combo.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely. Yeah, like I said, I was very surprised when we found out that Deejay was going to be in Street Fighter 6 through the leak character list. But seeing all the love they're giving him, man, it's a huge redemption arc for Deejay just because they did him so dirty in Street Fighter 4, So I'm very
hopefully he doesn't suck. That'd be most important.
There's no way he can suck, man. He looks good, but I do feel like Deejay is one of the more complicated characters in the game. Like I feel like there's a lot of things you need to know. He's got a giant kit in this game. Huge move list.
A lot of moves, charge moves, motion moves. Yeah, it's got a lot of it. All right, moving on to Marisa. So, Muscle Mommy, as I've heard some people call
Muscle
her
Mommy?
now.
That's good. I like it.
Especially because she carries you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very good wood.
Marisa's so sick. This is one of the first characters I'm going to try out when the game comes out.
But yeah, one of her unique things, and in fact it is listed under unique attacks, is that she can charge all of her heavies.
Yeah,
all her heavy punches and heavy kicks.
Did you see her sweep animation? It's so sick. It's so cool. She does a standing sweep.
Command normals too, and she has a lot of command normals and target combos too.
There's a million target combos, pretty much like every button target combos into itself. I feel like when you look at that command list, it's ridiculous.
I always like the idea of a character with not that many specials and a lot of target combos. So this actually piqued my interest. I'm curious how it's gonna be, right? Because one of the things that these sort of target combos let you do is that you can relatively safely buffer for a whiff punish in neutral and then convert if the target combo can reach, right? So maybe this could be a very good way for someone that is relatively new at whiff punishing to try and learn to do it.
Yeah, and her description, like all the characters have their difficulty descriptions on the character select screen.
Yeah,
Marisa is easy. There's only 2 characters that have easy. It's Marisa and Lily, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and it definitely fits her kind of like bully playstyle as well. Just this constant barrage of normal attacks that you have to deal with, and it seems really scary to whiff on her because the damage is really high.
Oh yeah, and even if you block, you see how much drive meter she's draining when she's charging her normals. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and speaking of easy and unga bunga. The phalanx, the leaping punch, where she goes in the air and
the phalanx,
advancing move, mind you. Apparently, they're all plus on blocks, so that's that's interesting.
That's so good. That move is so stupid. It's so stupid. The fact that
Lowe's gets punish counters left and right.
Like an unga bunga move is one thing, but she actually jumps up in the air and avoids the opponent's low normals and stuff. That's just it's overboard. That move is overboard.
It's Akuma's old for the heavy punch.
It's so ridiculous, man.
Before the nerf.
Broken. So good.
Yeah. Well, looking through her move list, aside from the million command normals, well, actually, as part of the million command normals, she has a really interesting command normal that I'm not seeing people use, but I've seen it in the move list.
Mm-hmm.
She can do neutral jump down heavy punch, and she does this kind of like two-handed downward slam that reminds me a lot of
Oh yeah,
Dan's neutral jumping heavy punch in Street Fighter 4 in previous games. And apparently it can cross up, which I wonder what
interesting.
it's for then. It's like you're neutral jumping over a drive impact or something and they go under you and you hit them on the other side.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that would make sense because you'd think you'd want to drive impact Marisa because she has such slow buttons, but she's got armor break moves too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking like Zangief's jumping headbutt kind of like that, where because it's specifically neutral jump, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing I definitely have to test out on day one.
Mhm.
That moves about.
Well, talking about other of Marisa's trademarks, her parry stance apparently can only be done in neutral. So like
Yeah.
it's called Scutum, by the way. I guess I should mention that, and it has multiple follow-ups.
Mm-hmm.
But we were thinking, oh, maybe you can like do a tick into it, and then if they retaliate, you parry them. But no, it's apparently you cannot do it in cancels at all.
Right. I think the reason they have that is so that she can't do anything really like cheeky, like do something that's unsafe, but cancel into the scutum to make her safe. So the opponent tries to retaliate. Maybe they wanted not even that nonsense. Also, they don't want her like Marisa's not supposed to be a grappler either. She's another brawler. So if the scutum was too strong, because that command grab looks really good. Plus it's a counter, right? They don't want it, to be like tick throwing with it like crazy. I wonder what the total frames is, by the way. Scutum directly into throw. The entire process. How fast?
If I remember correctly, it was about a total of 10 frames,
10?
something like that.
How
But
fast
I
was,
haven't double checked, so like take this with a grain of salt.
How fast was G's command throw again, off the top of your head?
All frames,
12.
I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, another thing too is the fact that it has different follow-ups, right? Like they don't want you to do a cancelable button into an overhead and a low and a command grab. That would make her pressure that's already too strong even more insane. Probably is the reason why. So the Scutum, they wanted to be used as a move that you're used as a read that your opponent's gonna press a button, not as some type of tool that you're canceling tool for pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw some people make an interesting point of the fact that if you're in burnout in the corner and someone does, drive impact on you, you can use the Scutum to armor through it and save yourself like that without having to use a super.
Oh.
Which is a cool idea. I wonder if you can get the armor out fast enough, right? Because obviously you cannot do any overdrive version. You don't have any meter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all depending on how fast it is. But I've definitely seen it go through drive impact. That she has some kind of invulnerability even when she does that body shove. So the attack just goes through you. Yeah.
This character is going to be unstoppable. Are you serious? That's ridiculous.
That sounds, very useful to have at least. Like even if it's not a perfect parry, well, forgive the pun, but like a frame one parry, it's still nice to have. So that's gonna be the most interesting thing I feel like that Marisa has, because this body shove, right? We were wondering how it worked, and it is kind of like what we had guessed, in the sense that if you parry something or armor through something, then you get that body shove automatically, and it puts you at a plus situation. I believe you're +3, so you cannot combo anything. But interestingly, the two follow-ups, the overhead and the low, they seem to be too slow to actually be done in that situation. So like people can jab you out of them.
Okay.
The throw might be fast enough though.
Okay.
So like that could be your answer. But even then, you're not forced to do any of the follow-ups. You can just wait and do normals.
True. Yeah.
So you can use that for basically, you can kind of like do it, and if they don't do anything, then they get overheaded or lower command throw. But if you do parry something, then you're a plus in their face, which could be really rewarding.
Definitely some labbing required there for sure. It's a very interesting move. Lots of testing needs to be done.
Yeah, and to go with her like kind of like parry armor theme, I guess. Or level 1, it says that you can armor through attacks, and I've seen it armor through attacks. But it also seems to have a special kind of like parry animation, where if you do it with a very specific timing, and you basically get hit by an opponent attack at the right time, she reels up even more and throws a big punch. Unfortunately, in the in the clip that I've seen, the opponent didn't have enough health
Mm-hmm.
to really tell if the damage was different. But my guess is that it does extra damage because, I mean, what else could it do, right? Like a
Right.
normal super would have just gone through anyway.
Right. For sure, like the longer you charge it, the more damage it's gonna do, because I think it says in the command list, but there's definitely something, there's more to it than the description says, because yeah, it has an armor. There seems to be some kind of counter property where it kind of acts like the Scutum when you time it right. So very interesting level 1. And I wonder as a reversal how good it's gonna be.
I feel like the speed matters quite a lot, right? Because it could be a slow reversal that relies on the fact that you have to, parry your armor through something.
Yeah.
But if it does have this special property, that would solve the issue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, moving on to the next character, which is Manon,
Yeah.
or Mei, as Damascus likes to say.
Manon.
I really enjoyed that joke.
Man, I was like embarrassed after I heard the proper pronunciations of all the moves, because we suffered through that during the audio commentary leaks, trying to figure out how to pronounce everything. Now that I finally heard, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we're not French speakers, and I'm sure we made it very clear. So
we tried.
Thank you, Damascus.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We have a few new and interesting information here. We saw that standing heavy punch target combo that vacuums opponents in, being like really important for Manon, because obviously it puts them close to her for a throw mix-up. But the new information is that it's actually really easy to confirm. A lot of people have compared it to Young Zeku's standing heavy punch target combo.
That's good. That's really good. There are some things in Street Fighter 6 that I've noticed are intentionally used for easy confirms, like Luke's crouching medium kick into his crouching fierce, or his forward hard punch into forward hard punch. Reuse target combo, heavy punch, heavy kick. There's like very specific target combos that are used for that.
Right, and this is especially valuable for Manon, as we were saying, because of the the mix-up potential, right? And the standing heavy punch by itself is safe. I believe is -3. If you do the follow-up on block, it's quite unsafe, and you still vacuum them in, so you have to be careful.
Okay.
Right, talking about her target combos, she actually has a really cool anti-air. Was very, very happy to see it, even though I'm not sure I will be very happy to see this character in ranked.
Yeah.
I thought this anti-air was a really nice idea. So basically, she does crouching heavy punch, which is her anti-air, and then she can do heavy punch again, and it kind of like pulls the opponent down to the ground, like it slams them in front of her, and she is just in their face. That's and then really she can apply the throw mix-up. And I really like the idea of, like her basically grabbing you out of the sky, a little bit like Abel, I suppose, because he also had an anti-air throw.
Right.
And it just, sets up the mix-up. I think it's a really neat idea.
Whatever it's called.
Falling Sky, I believe.
Oh yeah, Falling Sky. It looks like Manon, like one of her things as a grappler is that she has really strong anti-airs that could convert very well for her in general.
Yeah, this is something that they've been doing with a lot of grapplers. I've noticed, even Zangief having the lariat as an easy anti-air, and characters with command throws in Street Fighter 5, like Mika having that crouching medium punch, or like Birdie as well. There's a lot of moves like that really make them very reliable at dealing with people jumping at you. So having things like these help a lot with the game plan, especially when someone's neutral jumping to avoid your command throws. Another thing that we got some clarification on, there were some moves, I guess, of Manon where she leaps at you and does a double kick, and then there's the overhead leap attack, and then there's that low double spin sweep. Yeah. Which at first we thought were like all command normals, but they had the trails as if they were special moves, and then we weren't really sure. And it's actually just the same special move.
I know,
it's just
very
the light
confusing.
version is the low, the medium version is the the mid, and the heavy version is the overhead. So I guess that clears it up.
Very, very confusing, because I thought, like, is this 3 different special moves? And or command normals. So at least now we finally know. It's all belongs to one. It just has very different variations depending on the strength. That mystery solved.
And the overhead is pretty fast. It's 20 frames, which is on par with the fastest overheads in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, that's really good.
The overdrive is slightly slower, but she can combo off of it. It's basically Street Fighter 5 overhead speed. Like 22 frames is a Street Fighter 5 overhead, average Street Fighter 5 overhead. But you can get combo out of this, and then into level 3 or whatever, so you just die.
Yeah. Like a lot of the overheads are safe in Street Fighter 6, but I would imagine the OD version of this has got to be unsafe on block. It has to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, you didn't see any footage of it on block. Another clarification of things that we had wondered about before: the hit throw can actually be feinted. So when we saw the Manon just do the twirl and then not do anything, the way you do that is that you input the hit throw and then you hold the button and you just do the little twirl, which is projectile invincible, by the way. So you can use that to get
that's really good.
Close up with the opponent.
You can use the slightly advanced forward to the opponent. And once again, that's another thing we were wondering, like, are these two separate moves? There's got to be some way. And I think she has a follow-up to the twirl too, right?
Right. So, like, if you do the input for the hit throw and then you press kick, she does that leaping kick that we also had seen before in some combos. And this leaping kick can be drive rush canceled. I'm not sure if it can be special canceled, but definitely for drive rush. And we had seen that in the developer footage. And we were scratching our head about that too.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So her hit throw, even though it does less damage than her main command grab, the unblockable one, or not the unblockable one, it has a lot of utility. With the twirl, with the follow up, going through projectiles, like it's really good. If you feint, you can bait your opponent to jump, and then she can grab you from the air. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do with her hit command grab.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because this twirl is projectile invulnerable, right? Like if you go through something and then they're pretty far away, you can probably use the kick to kind of like hit the recovery, right? And
Oh, that's a good point.
And if you have drive, you can do a drive rush combo to get close and get bulky.
Yeah, you can cancel from. That's crazy. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah. We also now know that the command throw is a half circle motion. It's half circle back punch. Which I kind of expected, I guess, especially thinking about Abel, like he also had the half circle command throw.
Oh, yeah.
And we had measured before there was 10 frames, but that appears to be based on the version, because the heavy version, which is the shortest range version, is only 5 frames. So it's on par with characters like Zangief and other command throw characters like that.
Interesting.
Again, to remember everyone, every time Manon command grabs you or uses the hit throw with the actual throw follow up, she gets a medal level, and she can go up to 5. These don't disappear between rounds, and the command throw damage just goes up and up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's pretty crazy at level 5.
Yeah, if you get to level 5, like every throw becomes very lethal. Definitely the strongest command grab in the game once you get to level 5, as it should be. So if you get a good head start on that round 1, that round 3 could be devastating. Could be free from Manon.
Yeah.
Super good.
Yeah, the risk reward completely changes. You'll be holding up much more in the last round.
You have to. You have to.
Right. And speaking of inputs again, her super, level 3, is a throw, as we had guessed. It's double critical forward punch. And it seems to be based on, like looking at the frame data analyzer thing that is in training mode. It seems to be 7 frames before the flash, and then none afterwards, or more correctly, hits during the flash. So 7 plus 0.
Yeah.
Which means that you cannot jump after the flash.
Right. So it's like Zangief, where once you see the flash, if you weren't already jumping, you're gonna get hit. So that's scary. Yeah. And it's interesting.
The
that
interesting
it's a double
part is that there's a lot of startup before, so it's not easy to use for punishes.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Like, this is once again because we have 4-frame lights across the board, and everything seems to be minus in this game. It'd be absurd if like you press a single button, any kind of block string, and then Manon or Zangief would just get a free level 3 on you. That'd be absurd. So that's probably why the startup is so slow. Yeah,
it will also make it harder to link from attacks, if if that's even possible. Actually, I know that Zangief can, but Manon actually not quite sure if she can. I believe she does.
Yeah,
though.
That'd definitely be something interesting to test. And once again, since it's 7 frames before the flash, like to the naked eye, it's not gonna seem that slow. It's still gonna seem very fast, but But when you break it down, there is a gap in there.
Well, that's about everything that I had for Manon. So like moving on to JP.
Yeah, JP, man.
JP, that's a character we saw quite a lot of because people were able to record the character guide, and it really seems like they want you to play as this mostly zoner, but you can set up a lot of offense basically whenever you get a knockdown. And to aid in that, some of the inputs seem to be, kind of like built for that, or at least some of the specials. So, for example, is Triglove, which is the spike that comes out the ground at basically full screen. It's a down punch motion, which is actually fairly helpful because there's plenty of combos that I've seen with the AI where people get hit in the air right above your head, and you don't know if they're left or right. So being able to just do down and punch could probably help you, pick up a combo anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a lot of different specials, so they had to squeeze in a down input in there somewhere.
Yeah, the next thing is Torbalan, which is the fireball where he throws out a little clone that hits you. We knew that it had multiple versions that were low, overhead, whatever. Now we know specifically which one is which. The light one is, high, you can block high or low. Then the medium one is overhead, and the heavy one is low. And you can also hold the button to feint it so that it has much faster recovery and doesn't go nearly as far.
Yeah, we were scratching our heads about this one because we didn't know what the feint was about, because we thought maybe the feint was like a light version of a different projectile. So that mystery is finally solved. And JP's zoning just looks like second to none. This character is so unique, by the way. Like, between the spike and the fireballs alone is very, very cool. And he's going to be mixing you up from full screen. So very, very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And like people say, he's got the drip, or sorry, he's got the drip.
Yeah, JP's
definitely
going to be
so
popular, dude. And, you would think, okay, overhead projectile, low projectile, I'm just going to hold parry. Well, he has another option for that, too. The command grab projectile.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as we knew, he has a command throw. And the command throw has completely different input. It's another special move. And, of course, I go back punch.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a command throw. The OD command throw actually does really respectable damage for something that can travel full screen. So it's not the kind of character that you just down back, I guess that's a question that we've had for zoners in Street Fighter 6 because, there's no more health chip, right? With special moves.
Yeah.
There's only drive chip. It's like, what prevents you from just down backing them? So like Dhalsim just mixes you up, especially now with the teleports. Can do whatever he wants. Guile just throws the slow Sonic cross and then mixes you up because you're just sitting there. And JP just command throws you, I guess. So there's always something.
It's nuts. Like, he command grabs you from full screen away with a projectile. And like I said, if you get caught doing a parry, and then he gets a punish counter on that, he drains so much drive meter from you anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very good. The different strengths, I'm assuming, is the different ranges. Is that what it is? I'm
not sure. I actually couldn't tell based on the footage, but if it seems like the command throw always goes full screen, so maybe there's no versions. It's just the command throw.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that move looks so strong. It's very unique in Street Fighter 6. Very good.
Right, and talking about ways of mixing you up, because obviously, is level 2 we've seen in some footage in the past, and we weren't quite sure what it was.
Yeah,
it basically is Lavushka, and it basically summons a bunch of clones that hit you, like in succession.
Yeah.
And it's very reminiscent for those that played the Dragon Ball games. It's the Hell Zone grenade that Piccolo does, where he throws a bunch of key blasts and then they hit you, in quick succession. I believe he has it in Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit ignorant on these sort of things. But it kind of like behaves that way, right? And you would expect it's like, okay, they're projectiles, right? So I just block however I want.
No.
And you'd be wrong.
Very wrong. This is Mortal Kombat now.
I mean, pretty much. It's like it starts with a high, okay.
Yeah.
Then it's an overhead, and you're already scratching your head. It's like, why is that an overhead? That's a low, and then it's another overhead.
Yeah, there's no way you're blocking this. This is impossible. Not especially with JP moving around during this. There's no way you're getting opened up on this. This is free damage, Mir. The level 2 is officially free damage. I mean, I would imagine you would parry this, and maybe during the parry hit stun, JP can't throw you, but I don't know. I don't know what the best option. I would imagine for this one, you'd want to get thrown, because if you get thrown, then you don't have to deal with the rest of the hits. But I don't know how this super is going to work. It looks broken.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty crazy. Sure, it's a level 2, but I mean, if the opponent's in burnout, it's like, good luck.
Yeah, like I'm already seeing the CPU do some wild stuff with it, so I can't even imagine when a player gets their hands on this character and comes up with some stuff like. This is gonna be insane. This level 2 super. Definitely looks like one of the strongest. And honestly, like JP looks insane in general. Like he's a villain character, and they're doing him justice, like big time. You know, he's supposed to be cheap. You know, like Bison was in Street Fighter 5, and he definitely seems cheap. Like this super looks wild.
And the damage seems quite high in general on what he does. Like even for relatively simple conversions, pretty respectable damage. And speaking of damage, if you have 3 bars and you get hit like at all, it can just do a level 3 and it hits you full screen.
Yeah. Once again, Mortal Kombat. Like I look at this and I'm like, wow, this looks like a Mortal Kombat super. It hits you from anywhere on the screen. You can't do anything. You can't throw a fireball. You're not safe no matter where you are. When JP has his level 3 up, you have to respect it big time. Yeah, gravity squeeze. This is rough. This one's rough.
And everyone says that the animation looks like Mortal Kombat 2, where he just kills you.
It's cool, man. JP is a very cool character. He looks very strong. Like it doesn't look like they're even trying to hide it, Mir. They want you to know he's strong.
Basically, everyone that I've heard the opinion of is like they just put him at the top of every prediction tier list ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only downside is like I think he's not going to be an easy character to play. You know, like he's still very technical, and people are going to try to rush you down when you're using JP. So I think you have to. He's one of those characters going to take some time in the oven, and then he'll be back with a vengeance for sure.
Yeah, I think his defense is overall relatively lackluster because he doesn't have a traditional reversal. He has to spend meter to do a level 1 super if he really wants something invulnerable. Otherwise, you have to do that parry of his, which is not actually a guaranteed punish. So there's possibilities for people to really like maul you in the corner. You know, especially if his normals are all slow. That could be a big problem. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's definitely got charisma, and like I said, the drip. All right, well, moving on to the next character, and this one is another one that a lot of people were interested about. Zangief. Everyone's scared of the big Russian man.
Nobody is talking about Green Hand anymore. There's distractions now. No one's even talking about it. This character's a beast. I think he's a beast. He weighs like 399 pounds, by the way.
I was gonna say that's the meme of the drive rush into standing medium punch. That's the bootleg Green Hand. That
you're gonna see. It really is. Oh man, Zangief, there's so much to talk about this character. He just looks so good.
Right. So starting with some very basic clarifications. The first one is that we saw that there was an EX lariat or OD lariat. I'm sorry. And we didn't know how to do it. So the answer is that lariat is 2 punches instead of 3 punches, and the 3 punches just gives you the OD version.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
So he still has his easy anti-air. I wonder if you can do it easily from crouching and it hits just like Street Fighter 5 and such.
Yeah. We know the OD version definitely starts up a lot faster. And I think it has projectile invincibility on frame 1 for the OD too. So and you can drift a little bit as well, steer it around just like before.
Yeah, the move list mentions that the lariat has projectile invincibility, so I would assume that the overdrive version has way more.
Yeah,
especially because if it hits you, even if it hits you from afar, it seems like it gives Oki. So that could be very scary.
Yeah, you can use those like a combo ender, especially after like headbutt or something. And I've seen the CPU use it like as an anti-air as well, so we know it's still the same there too.
Right. Another clarification is in the latest footage for Zangief, we saw that he had that weird, we thought was like a command jump normal, something strange, like a drop kick.
Yeah.
Wall bounce. It looked hilarious.
Yeah, that was random.
And apparently that's just jumping heavy kick, but you hold it down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of startup, and if you do it too late, it doesn't come out. You just charge up and nothing happens.
Yeah, that is a very silly looking normal.
Yeah, supposedly it's hard to enter, so that already scares me.
Yeah, definitely. And you get hit by this, you're getting launched to the moon. That's really funny.
More clarification on inputs. We saw that he had a lot of throws, and we were like, well, how do you do them? Because how do you do multiple throws? We were wondering if it was when the opponent is crouched or whatever, but we couldn't figure out. No, he just does. He has back and throw, forward and throw. He has down, back, down, forward, and down. So So it's a
Any
lot of it's
direction,
very reminiscent
basically.
of Street Fighter 2, I think, right?
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 is a million throws. I still to this day don't even know how he does all those different throws in Street Fighter 2. It's like sometimes he just randomly bites, sometimes he tosses you up. Like there's a lot of variants. And I remember from the commentary leaks that mentioned that Zangief has more throws than ever. And that's definitely a nod to his just his normal throws in general too. So very cool. I'm sure they're all gonna have different reasons to use each one for Oki or for side switching or whatever, right? Damage. So that's something to do a lot of testing. Very, very fun for Zangief players. Lots of throws.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a nightmare for everyone else though. The knowledge check is gonna be insane. It's like you have to know the Oki and all the throws.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Well, talking about throws, the King of Throws is back. It's the SPD, the spinning or the screw pile driver, I guess it's called now.
Yeah, they changed
it.
it.
And it's still a 360 motion. So if you like to churn butter, you can churn butter in this game as well. And you are repaid for your efforts because we were all like, oh, but in this game with like all these grapplers that have strong throws, was Zangief gonna do whatever? Okay, so apparently Light SPD just full screen pretty much.
Yeah, it has crazy range. It has crazy range like before. And the damage for a light is absurd. So much, dude. It's so insane.
Yeah. So apparently it's 250 damage or 2,500, I guess, for a light SPD, which in comparison in Street Fighter 5, if I remember correctly, a heavy SPD is 220. So the light SPD already does more damage.
Yeah. And since everyone has the same amount of health, that basically means it does 25% damage. That's another way of looking at it.
Right, yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. And then it goes up as you go up in the versions, and the range shrinks until you do the overdrive, and then it's just like the good old Street Fighter 5 EX SPD, where it has the range and the damage.
Yeah, best of both worlds.
So like the heavy does 33%, which is like
what?
Okay. It's like more than a level 2, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the strongest command grab in the game. And that makes sense for Zangief, unless you count like Manon, level 5 metal level. But right from the beginning of the round, Zangief can basically command grab you 3 times and you're dead. Basically, that is absurd. How much damage it does. It's really, really good. It's cool. I always love the idea of Zangief. One of the things about playing against Zangief is that you're so scared of the threat of the grab. Like that's such a big thing about the character. And this time around, you are definitely really scared about the grab in this game.
Yeah, for sure, and especially because one of the most important features of the SPD in Street Fighter 5 is that there's a lot of stun, right? So it was very scary because you could get stunned really easily with SPD, but stun doesn't work the same anymore in Street Fighter 6. So they had to compensate somehow since they don't want you to have Oki, as far as I can tell, at least from SPD. Then it's the damage, right? It's just a lot of damage.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too, because stun is a big part of grapplers to reset, and then that's your win condition. But yeah, just going for just straight damage is good. I still think Zangief gets some Oki because I see after the SPD he's like plus 28. So like and we saw before from those dev matches that Zangief can do like a drive rush standing medium punch or something to try to set it up again. I don't know,
super close, but he can get something.
Yeah, he's not point blank, but I would imagine he still gets something. And
it's just not the command throw vortex, I suppose.
Right, you have to spend meter to earn that too. So his command grabs are still super. They found a way to make it super threatening, without making it a crazy vortex heavy game like it was in Street Fighter 5.
Talking about more command throws, we now know that the running bear grab and the atomic suplex, so I guess it's called Russian suplex now, again are actually the same motion, which is not 360 kick like it used to be. It's half circle or circle back kick, so like the Street Fighter 5 input. Yeah. But it still has the thing where, if you're close, you get the atomic suplex, and if you're far, you get the running bear grab.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting because I don't know why this is. Like, I don't know why they did it this way.
I don't know. Maybe they'll just say he had too many inputs. I mean, man, the amount of stuff he has. He still gets a side switch, right? When he does it close
from the suplex. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good.
The thing that's interesting is that I suppose this will stop people from doing stuff like standing light kick into bear grab because they're close and they would get the atomic suplex and that would just whiff.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a sneaky way of nerfing those sort of setups.
Yeah, maybe. Like the run speed he has is still pretty fast, man. And now he has got armor too on top of that, even on the normal version. So that's pretty good. Did you see the startup speed of this thing when you do it point blank?
If I remember correctly, last time we counted 10, but I haven't checked with the new footage.
I was
The
thinking
thing that's
10
interesting
too.
is that the bear grab, if you're not close enough, the normal bear grab, it's kind of slow. It's like back to, well, maybe not Street Fighter 4 speed, where it was just extremely slow.
Yeah.
But it is slower than Street Fighter 5, especially because Zangief raises his hands into the air, like a bear, and then goes after you. But it always has armor. Like even the normal version does have armor. That's useful. The overdrive version is quite fast. Like that's the one that you're gonna use to catch people sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, it's still not like ST fast, where it's like he's running at you full
well, not
on.
necessarily the run speed, mostly like the start.
Yeah, the start. I mean, even Street Fighter 5, yeah, like you were talking before, when he ticked through you with that standing light kick into it, man, it was really fast if you're not paying attention. So that's cool.
Yeah, especially because you cannot press a button, he just throws you.
More throws, man. I think he's got a lot of throws.
Yeah, and to complement all of this, because it's like, okay, well, I mean, this game, there's no plus frames basically anywhere. He has to use his bootleg green hand, whatever, to put you in, plus situation. But fear not, or fear a lot, depending on if you're playing Zangief. Apparently, his lights are just plus.
Yeah, his lights.
You, I guess I don't know.
His lights are slow though, but like, yeah, they are plus, man. So that is scary. That's gonna help him still be able to tick throw you because his SPD is a 5-frame startup. So yeah, I'm sure by now you guys are realizing we're trying to tell you be very scared of Zangief in that first month, dude. You have to really lock this character down. Zangief is gonna be terrorizing everyone.
Absolutely, especially because even in a +1 situation, right? So like the bare minimum amount of plus, because no one has a 3-framer in this game. A 5-frame SPD is always a tick throw.
Right.
So that can be scary, and you're not gonna walk out of it. Like if he does the light SPD, it just throws you.
Yeah. So that means if Zangief gets close to you, he's instantly threatening. Like, you're already in trouble. Like you're already losing. He should not be getting close to you.
To make him a little bit more threatening, they brought back some things from Street Fighter 5. One of those being the air SPD, which is now a 360 and kicks. I guess is because it will help if you screw up the input. You get a kick on the ground instead of whiffing an SPD. So I guess that's nice.
Yep.
And you can even do that standing heavy kick. Well, crash counter in Street Fighter 5, but punish counter in this game into OD air SPD for massive damage. That's pretty cool that's back. I like that combo.
So that's the classic, yeah. If you bait someone throwing, a shimmy or whatever and the heavy kick, very good.
Yeah, I guess in this game it wouldn't be to beat backdashes anymore, right? Because you cannot get counter hit on backdash. Or punish counter for that matter.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm curious how like Zangief players are gonna be able to use that. It probably is gonna be for whiff punishment.
Yeah,
and that'd be some scary whiff punishment.
Oh yeah,
like 400 damage.
Yeah, man.
And then is stomps. We saw the standing medium punch target combo where he does medium punch, medium punch, medium punch, and the move list mentions that it's only for counter hit, which I actually didn't realize. I thought it was for natural hits too.
Yeah.
So that one, okay, we understand what it's for. But the stomps, those were a little bit weird because we were wondering, maybe they're plus on hit so that you get a mix-up, but they're low. But apparently they're minus on hit. Instead, they're cancelable.
Right.
You can actually do repeated lows and, like hit people maybe holding up or whatever, and then cancel into, I would assume, a lariat at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both used in a way of like whiff punishment. Like standing medium punch, obviously, if you land a punish counter with it, then it would combo all the way through. Or if you use it as a drive rush, right? Drive rush pressure. It'd be plus enough so they combo naturally. So I guess the stomps are the same. So that's pretty cool. I wonder, like I said, you probably just cancel it into lariat and confirm it from there. But the input itself is weird, Mary. Down, kick.
Right.
What's up with that input?
It is very strange. I guess because he has a normal crouching medium kick, so they wanted to also give him the stomps.
Yeah, it just kind of.
At that point, I would have figured, I don't know, like down forward kick.
Just kind of breaks the rules of a command normal. It's just really weird really input. Strange. Down.
It
kick.
might have unique canceling properties. You know, kind of like how Ken with his run follow-ups, he has like unique special canceling property or super canceling properties. Maybe this move as well.
Yeah, I have to test that out.
Other special things that Zangief has for the level 2, we know that the jackhammer can switch sides, but apparently you can just choose which side to go on. So that's interesting, just by
you just
holding
hold
a
left
direction.
or right.
Yeah.
Very
and then you hold it down to get the V trigger 1 effect where it pops them up.
Yeah,
and
the range on this
before, you can...
still looks really good. The level 2 still looks very good. So this is very important for Zangief because it just means that like him even having level 2, just sitting on it is very threatening against a zoner because the range is so far, it vacuums in it. Very, very nice.
And if you really want the damage, you can combo a level 1 afterwards, as we saw in those Twitter clips.
Yeah, you can use all 3 bars. That's very nice.
It's interesting though. Like it's a cool looking combo as well. I'm glad that he has it just for the looks, you know. It's also practical, I would assume, but
makes playing against the
just
CPU.
Like the care that they've put in Zangief to really make him look like, you know, like a cool wrestler. I like that.
Oh yeah, they nailed it for sure. Yeah, Zangief is definitely one of the best redos of a classic character. They gave him so many throws, and they figured out a way to make his SPD really threatening with the new system. And you know, now giving, and plus remember, he's got the same health as everyone else, as big as he is, right? And making him still feel like a grappler. I think Capcom did an amazing job with Zangief. Really good.
Yeah, speaking of, I remember that you said that the level 3 ended a little bit too early. Have you seen his critical art?
Yes, yeah. The animation. I'm not gonna complain though, because Street Fighter 5 Zangief Super. I'm not going back, man. I'm not going back.
So traumatized by that one.
No, this level 3 is amazing. I'm not gonna complain. The animation is perfect. I'm not taking
just
it for
like
granted.
the critical art version. When he slams you down, when he comes down, you see the like a shockwave on the ground and the ground crumpling. It reminds me a lot of when he grabbed you in Street Fighter EX and then you went out of the atmosphere.
Yeah. Street Fighter EX is the coolest Zangief Super ever in history. It's way too cool.
Right. Well, but talking about the level 3, this one is a 720, so 360 twice. However, even though it is 7 plus 0, it seems, again, so like you cannot jump after the super flash. Why is this a hard input and Manon's isn't? What the heck is going on?
I don't know, man. Maybe just, I don't know. They're still 2 different characters. I don't know. I have to see the damage differences. Why does Zangief
get screwed? Okay, I understand people like to churn butter, but you cannot do this standing easily. I mean, you can if you're godlike. It's possible to do standing 720s.
Yeah.
But come on, man. What's going on?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. There's got to be something here. There has to be something.
Right. I was wondering that maybe Manon's level 3 changes based on the metal levels, because I only saw her do a level 3 when she had full metal levels.
I didn't even
so maybe you can jump it before the flash, before that, but I'm not sure. I really don't know.
Yeah. Plus the range. You have to know the range differences too. And yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Zangief's, like I said, he's got plus light normals. You know, they're probably really careful with this. And now that we know it's a 720 mirror, that was like one of the big mysteries too. Is there still 360 command grabs? Is there still 720 supers? So now we have to see how this is going to work with Manon controls too, which is another big
unfortunately,
topic.
No one seemed to have tested that.
I mean, they barely had any time, man. Like,
yeah, really, really unfortunate. I was very curious because I would expect that for the SPD, you know, they just give you the heavy SPD. So like you cannot abuse the extremely long range in neutral.
Yeah.
But for the 720, I mean, they're just, I don't know, you're just gonna walk up to them and throw them.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that. That's one of the last big concerns with Manon controls that we had, is seeing how the heck is it gonna work with Zangief. So now we know it's a 720. So
oh, and it also does like 4,700 damage, so like 47% of your health.
That's cool. That's cool, as it should be. I mean, it's a 720, dude.
Yeah, it's really scary. All right, well, we talked about the big grappler. Now we're gonna talk about the tiny grappler.
Yeah,
Lily. So we got Lily lined up here.
As
you mentioned before, another one of the easy characters. Which I thought was interesting.
I thought it was interesting too.
Yeah, because it's like I wouldn't have guessed that, but I suppose based on what we've seen, especially with how our wind system works, I can maybe understand where you're coming from. So we know that she can stock some wind stocks, I guess, by doing her special move that gives her the stocks.
Yeah.
And she can stock up to 3, and these empower special moves.
Yeah. All of the classic
Namely,
T-Hawk moves.
right, yeah. Namely, the Condor Spire adjusts plus at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why she's easy, huh?
Yeah, because she's just gonna unga bunga in, and then you're in the mix right away for sure. Like her game plan is very clear. So.
Yeah, it's like if you're in neutral, you just want to get stocks, and then basically, if you have the stocks, you have 2 options. You can either approach on the ground with the Spire, or approach from the air with the dive.
Mm-hmm.
And the dive with the wind effect seems very difficult to punish. Basically, everyone was saying how it's kind of hard because she's quite far.
Yeah, she's definitely minus, and you definitely want to hit it shallow if you can. But yeah, it's. I wonder how it's gonna work with some characters with the drive rush system, if they can punish her or not. I mean, that would be a huge factor on how she will approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that we saw is that the level 2 uses up to 1 stock to get empowered and does extra damage.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I could figure that it does, at least.
Yeah, it's cool you can do it in the air too, because that means if she cancels it into like an OD Condor Spire or something, since she's airborne, she can still go into her level 2.
Yeah.
I still think of it like Ken's V Trigger 2, his his uppercut, and I wonder, if you still be using it against, other people zoning you because it vacuums you in. So it looks like a really good utility super in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
The extra hits, like they were mentioned that like when she does it in the corner, maybe she'll be able to juggle afterwards or something. Since it pops them up a little higher. We had to test that out.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Her combos seem relatively basic, but she does have a fair amount of command normals, so I would expect that the drive rush conversions are probably what you're gonna spend most of your drive gauge on.
Yeah, her normals seem pretty slow and pretty minus. Like they want you to use those normals at max range because she does have a weapon. So that's definitely going to be the big thing about that character is having the proper spacing. And if you get those wing clad stocks, you don't need spacing. You just unga bunga, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you space the normal Condor Spire without the wing clad stock, you can be even more plus than with the wing clad stock. If you space it correctly, you can be like +4 in some situations, which is really good.
Right. But I guess not everything is happy in T-Hawk land, because her overdrive DP apparently is not fully invulnerable.
Yeah, apparently, and I was really sad to hear this because I'm like, man, that's one thing that makes her really unique as a grappler. She has like a full-on invincible reversal, but no, it seems that her Tomahawk Buster is just for use for anti-air. It's like it's air invincible, but air attack invincible, but not used on the ground. So if you land the OD though, you get a lot of damage because you can do the dive right after. That's like a huge chunk of it. It's like 25%. It's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. It is 4 bars, I believe, right?
Yeah,
it's not
4 bars.
2+1.
I think so. Yeah, 4 or 3. But that's good. So like if you jump in on her, it's gonna be really rewarding. But you just
that's a classic T-Hawk combo, and she can combo into the level 2 then. So that's another thing.
Yeah, exactly. Since we know you can do it in the air. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, you can't just use it as a wake up option. That'd be very unga bunga because then you would have an invincible reversal that you can convert downwards into like a level 2, do like 50%. That'd be ridiculous.
I mean, it would be funny if they let you do the OD DP and then do the OD dive kick to get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it'd be so dumb. It reminds me of like the Rashid days where he does like EX Eagle Spike to side switch out of the corner. So stupid.
Well, I mean, as we were mentioning, all of this works in tandem with their command throw, which is Mexican Typhoon. And this one is also 360 and punch. So, like, it's a traditional motion for this one as well. The curious thing about this one is that we were talking about how Zangief can kind of like get Oki with Drive Rush. But this one doesn't have any Oki at all. We were thinking maybe it's only one of the versions because we had, incomplete footage. But now we know that she just never gets Oki back to full screen.
Yeah, it might be just because they assume that you can get maybe a level 2 or level 3 wing clad off being full screen with her, and then you have to earn your way back in, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Have
that's
to test
possible. And
out
the damage, even on the heavy version, is lower than Zangief's SPDs.
Yeah.
It's 28% for the heavy version, which is, I mean, it's still more than any throw in Street Fighter 5, pretty much. So
yeah, it's very respectable damage. Of course, it's not as crazy as Zangief, but you don't have Zangief flying across the screen at you, being +1, you know. So
yeah,
that's why. But she's still a grappler. Like that's still her main game plan, and it's still very bad if you get command grab. It's still a massive threat, 28%. It's just that Zangief is just so crazy, right?
The range is not that bad either. You know, like it's not spectacular like it is on Zangief, you know, on the light version. But you can tick throw from basically any blocked empowered condor spires and such, right? So it can still be pretty threatening.
Yeah.
In general, the thing that makes grapplers strong is just the threat of the command throw. Obviously, because it does damage or converts to Oki or whatever.
Yeah.
And she does have good damage if she hits you with her normals, because again, the drive rush conversions even from range, and she can convert with the specials into a knockdown into the corner. So the mix-up is completely functional. It's just maybe a little bit less reliant on actually hitting you with the command throw like Zangief.
Yeah.
And speaking of command throws, her level 3, unlike Manon's and Zangief, even though it still is 7 frames, it seems like there's 2 frames after the flash. So it's 5 plus 2, which means that you can jump after the flash.
Right.
On reaction, if you're not doing anything, of course.
Yeah. I'm not surprised about this because, once again, if she does Condor Spire on you and she swoops forward and she's plus on you, I think it'd be too absurd to have the threat of the level 3. It would be too strong, I think. That's maybe why they did that.
Yeah, that's possible. And this level 3 has decent range. For a 7 framer, it goes quite far.
Oh,
so
really?
That's another thing.
That's cool.
You could probably use it for punish then. You know, like how a bunch of characters in previous Street Fighters, like maybe Street Fighter 4, Poison and Balrog had 2 frame command throws, like as ultras. Maybe this is one level 3 that you could use, kind of like those that are used for punishes, right? 7 frames from pretty far away, and the damage of an entire level 3, because it is a throw. Like it actually does say throw.
Yeah, I think so too, and it would complement her weapons too, because she's got a really long range, so she's able to convert, into the grab. I think that'd be really good. It would make up for the fact that you can jump out of it, All
right, and finally we have everyone's favorite Cammy, which I left for last because I knew it. I guess we can start with the obvious. We were wondering if the hooligan has the slide follow-up, and it does. You just don't press anything, and she goes into a slide.
Yeah, and if you charge it, she kicks twice, like a double ankle slicer. Looks cheap. And then, yeah, you see the CPU try to drive impact it, and it goes completely over Cammy. She low profiles it. So I'm like, man, what are you supposed to do about this move now? Can't even drive impact it, and it hits twice? Like, yeah, that hooligan, I'm telling you. This looks really good.
The hooligan was always kind of like a meme, I guess, especially before Street Fighter 5, where it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And they really want to make it very useful in this game, It's like, if you're using hooligan, it has a purpose. And this is quite scary, because the drive impact, you'd imagine it would beat maybe a poorly spaced dive kick, and maybe the overhead as well, because it's 2 hits, and you do your drive impact and you hit her. This just going under is it's peculiar, because it's like, she still doesn't have armor, so you can use anti-airs and stuff to stop her.
Yeah.
But it evades the drive impact, so it's multi-layered.
Yeah.
I guess it's a cool solution. Another thing that I thought was interesting is that the Cammy is the character that we got to see the trials for Street Fighter 6. As people were allowed to record the trials. I really like the new trials. I think they're pretty interesting. There's a lot of seemingly very practical combos in there, which I'm happy about. I've always thought that the trials were either like impossibly difficult, like Street Fighter 4 trials, but not really practical, or like the Street Fighter 5 trials where there's only 2 combos that are useful.
yeah. This seems like between looking at the character trials and then the character tutorials and then playing the CPUs at level 8, I think they'll give everyone an excellent start on how to play their character. And the trials look good. I mean, Personally, I wanted to be like KOF 13 difficult, but
Like the impossibly difficult ones.
but practical combos work too, so that's cool.
One thing that I noticed about the combos is that the ones that were shown in the trials, a lot of them are reminiscent of Street Fighter V V trigger combos, except at all times because you can use the heavy charged special moves that Cammy gets,
Hmm.
and do a bunch of cool juggles like heavy spiral arrow into the DP.
Yeah.
And then you can use the level 2 in the air and it pops them up and continue to juggle there. There's a lot of cool stuff. Like this character is not just plain Jaina do standing light kick, haha, standing medium punch, throw.
Yeah.
It's interesting now.
Yeah, Cammy has been known as a really like plain character, especially from Street Fighter V. But now her combos are all like new, interesting. They found a way to implement that V trigger 1 without adding it as like a level 2 super, and being able to charge and side switch. And she has all these cool juggles now. Man, they did an amazing job on Cammy. Really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. There's some new moves that we saw that the AI use a lot. We have some GameSpot footage where the Cammy AI is fighting a bunch of other AIs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI really likes using this forward heavy kick move of hers, which is like this backswing kick. She like reels back a little bit and then she kicks you, and
Kinda
it is
looks like-
cancelable.
Yeah, kind of looks like Colleen's kick almost.
I guess so, yeah. But the little backswing at the beginning, I guess it means that it's probably very good at whiff punishing attacks
Mhm.
because she retracts first, and
Yeah.
then you whiff in her face and get hit. That
Yeah.
sounds potentially very scary because again, it is cancelable. So like even just going straight into a super could be very damaging.
Right.
Speaking of heavy kicks, since she has a traditional standing heavy kick back from Street Fighter 4 and previous, her Street Fighter 5 standing heavy kick is now back heavy kick. So
I know
back
that threw me off.
standing and forward.
That threw me off when I was looking at the trials too, because I was like, wait, that's a back? Yeah. So that's cool.
Mhm.
Lots of command lines.
And we got to see the animation of the air throw on the move list, and it doesn't look stupid. Let's go.
I know, I was joking about this on the stream actually when she did her air throw. I'm like, I don't know. You guys think this looks better than Street Fighter 5? I don't know.
I'm sure that the chat was having a moment.
I swear they
that.
put it in the game just for redemption. I swear. That jumping throw.
Oh, I guess I forgot to mention it earlier, but I guess I'll mention it now. JP has an air throw, which I did not know about.
Yeah, and Blanka too. It's weird. There's a lot of air.
Yeah, that's cool. I like air throws. Well, I play Guile, so I guess I'm biased.
Of course you like air throws. Of course.
Right. I guess another neat thing about Cammy that we found out with this new footage is that, and the trials, is that you can actually combo into the heavy spin knuckle.
Yes.
Which doesn't seem to cross up if you're very close to your opponent, especially in the corner. It never crosses up. But then you can combo out of it, which is pretty cool. It's like plus enough that you can do a light and combo afterwards.
Yeah, I'm happy with this change already because I just feel like her spin knuckle. I'm just traumatized from Street Fighter V V-Skill 1. It's just so useless. I don't want it to just be this tool that's specifically against like a projectile user. Especially when she has, it's kind of redundant when she has enough moves.
She has dive kicks and spiral.
Yeah. So now actually using it, you can combo into it and out of it is, now it has more identity. So I'm happy with those changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And in general, because now it's some mainline special move, is not like a V skill that you choose. It's important that it has its own niche, and just the knockdown wouldn't have done it.
Mhm.
Like the plus frames and the combo ability is cool. I like that. Well, as I mentioned before, another neat thing about Cammy is that she has 2 level 2s, in the sense that you can do the one on the ground that does that animation from the movie that everyone mentioned.
Yeah, that everyone will point out to you. Yeah.
yeah. But she can do it in the air, which is important because it's a lot like that sort of situation where you're jumping over maybe a fireball, but you know that you're not going to have enough time to reach. So you do the level 2 in the air and immediately hits them. But it doesn't end there because it pops them up for a combo, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, it adds some more flair to this character.
Yeah, it's very cool. And she has a lot of there's a lot of trials where she uses it to extend her combos. Very sick.
Mm-hmm.
And since she's got like command rolls and stuff or target combos that like put her airborne, it's very convenient. And they really make sure these level 2s have a lot of utility. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in general, I mean, we went over a lot of news about these characters. We learned a lot from this new footage, but I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. That this game can come out nearly early
It's
enough.
a
You know,
month
like
away, man. It's a month away, dude. It's crazy. And now, like after seeing all of this information, dude, it's so exciting. Every
yeah.
character looks so good.
Oh, and if you guys are sad that it's like, oh, you know, all the old characters, they're just gonna be boring now because we've known them for so long as
Yeah.
opposed to all these new fresh characters. There's still some changes that are being uh rolled out for the old characters. Like namely, the one that we spotted was that Jury. You know how she could do the fuha, the kicks, an overdrive into another overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And that would cost 4 bars, and it
Yeah, it
was
was
like one of
expensive.
Jury's strongest combos. Now it actually is 2 bars for the first overdrive, but only one for the follow-ups, which is
Okay,
kind
so
of neat.
yeah, I think a lot of people are actually asking for that. That's good because now that makes sense because it's more like Luke. You know, when Luke double spends overdrive, it's only one extra. So that's cool. That's gonna help a lot of her extensions because she basically has like an extra resource with the Fuha. So now you can
Yeah.
use OD instead if you want to save a stock. It's cool.
And I also heard that some of the combos that worked mid-screen before don't anymore because of this change. Or rather, they did this change and Ultra changed the properties on the moves.
Yeah, I'm
So it will still be a journey of rediscovering the characters, you
yeah,
know, like
there
when
will be
the game
some
comes
definitely
out.
some changes, but people already pointed out a bunch of changes from the demo for both Luke and Ryu, and it's going to be the same for day one. And another thing to keep in mind, like the version that everyone was testing with what we're telling you now is still not the final version. It's almost but, so we might even see some changes as well from that footage. So find out on day one, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, we've been yapping about this for a very
Ooh,
long
yeah.
time,
Oh yeah.
and I'll have a fun time editing this as well. But you guys, let us know in the comments what you're most excited for. If you saw anything that we missed, anything you want to discuss, please just drop a comment, and we read them all.
Yeah, thanks so
Especially
much
the
guys
nasty
for
ones; they're the most enjoyable ones.
yeah, let us know if you guys listen to this while mowing the lawn. That's always a great one. I want to know, guys. Yeah, thanks for listening to us, guys. Yeah, for like over an hour.
All right. Make sure to drop us a like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to have more of these and shorter videos, hopefully, in the
Yeah,
future.
we'll be back soon, guys. Until
Yeah.
the launch.
And talk to you next time.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace.